So coming to a comfortable position, whatever feels like in your body. And then if you're sitting on blankets, then just make sure you're comfortable sitting up nice and tall. And let's place our palms down on our legs so that we can start to bring our energy down a little bit. And bring our awareness into our practice. And physically feeling ourselves as we sit here on whatever we're sitting on, if it's a chair or a blanket, just noticing how everything feels. So not only in your body, but the surface that you're sitting on, how it feels against your skin or your pants. Just being physically aware of how you're connected to the surface you're sitting on. Also noticing your temperature. How do you feel today? If there's parts of your body that are warmer than the others, or if you feel cool, maybe in your fingertips, just notice that. And we begin to bring our awareness to these things so that it helps us to turn inward. And turning inward helps us start to truly see what's really going on rather than relying on external forces that might be happening around our lives, which tends to create ripples in our inner mind. And that is why we do yoga, so that we can start to calm that river, calm that ocean, start to smooth out the surface so that we can really truly see what is really there. We have so much media influence right now, so much that's going on in the world, and so many things to get scared about or frightened. That we need to start to turn inward so that we can calm our mind and go from a place of disturbing thoughts that create real problems in our body to a place where it's still and quiet so that we can have time to heal. Yes, we still have to walk around in the world and we have to go through things, but those things don't have to hit us as hard if we have a practice. We can ride those waves in a better way. That is our goal of our practice and our time together. And now we're going to turn our attention to our breath, beginning to notice how it's flowing through the body. And if it's flowing through the body. Because again, sometimes if our mind starts to get disturbed, then our breath starts to shorten and we start to breathe in the upper part of our chest. We're going to really start to deepen those inhales and exhales. Try to smooth out the breath. I like to use a visualization. Again, going back to that nice wave type visualization or that image in your head. Imagine that your breath is riding that wave and it's nice and smooth. There's no hitches. It just starts to roll towards the shore. Inhaling and exhaling and allowing the inhale to join up with the exhale in a smooth motion. Or even a cake. So when you're frosting a cake, imagine how you would be frosting that cake. It wouldn't be in choppy little motions. It'd be a nice smooth motion. So you can have a beautiful coating That's another visualization you can use as you breathe in and out. Allow your shoulders to be soft. Muscles of your face are soft. And today we're going to start with a lunar breath. It's called Chandra Badana. It's left nostril breathing. So what you're going to do is place your index finger and your middle finger right between your eyebrows. You're going to have your thumb over your right nostril and your ring finger over your left nostril. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a nice deep inhale in and exhale out through both nostrils to start with. And now close your right nostril and inhale to the left. Close off the left and exhale to the right. Close off the right and inhale to the left. Close off the left and exhale to the right. Close off the right and inhale to the left. Close off the left and exhale to the right. Close off the right and inhale to the left. Close off the left and exhale to the right. And then let your hand float back down to your leg. You notice the effect of that breath on the mind and the body. So that breath is cooling, and it really starts to settle down the mind. It can be too cooling for some people. So just notice if that aggravated you in any way. That is an option that you can do if you need a little cooling, if you're overheated, even if there's a little bit of a warmth or a hot flash that you might be having. That clears that. The moon is called moon piercing breath. And you could do the opposite on the other side if you needed a little bit more energy or you need some warmth in your body, then you could start to inhale to the right and exhale to the left. But for today, that's the practice we're doing. So now what you can do is slowly open up your eyes and return your gaze. All right. So let's get started here. So let's bring our legs out in front of us in Dandasana or staff pose. So you're having your legs out in front of you with your toes pointed up towards the ceiling. You're going to reach around behind you with your fingers pointed away. Hands are either on the blanket or on the floor, whatever you can reach. So you're sitting up nice and tall. You're using those hands to help you grow tall in your spine. And again, your toes are coming in the direction of your calf. I like to spread the toes to start to activate some additional leg muscles. And keep your head in alignment with your spine. So you don't want to be looking way up in the air like that, down towards your chest. You want it right over your shoulders. So you can line up in your mind's eye the best you can, lining up your ears over your shoulders. And then remember to breathe, growing taller as you inhale and exhale. And then release. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to reach down for your right ankle, bring your right ankle up, and then your left ankle up until your soles of your feet are touching. And this is a Baddha Konasana. down angle pose. We're going to feel how that feels in your body. I do have some blocks here. If you have a blanket or at home or two, then you can fold them up if this is too much on your inner thighs right here or your adductors. But otherwise, then just have your knees fall out to the sides. Your hands are on your calves, and you're going to reach up nice and tall. Now I'm sitting on a couple blankets here, and I'm sitting towards the front edge of the blankets, so that is helpful to help with your pelvis tilting a little bit forward, so you're not slumped in the lower back, so you can maintain the natural curves of your back. So that's what I recommend, that you sit up a little bit and you'll sit forward on the blankets. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do is you're going to come forward any amount. So go ahead and lean with your chest forward, so you're not slumping in the upper back. So only go as far as it feels good for you. And again, you want the head and neck in line with your spine, so you're not overextending your neck. And then slowly come up. Now, if you have a block at home, we're going to add on a little bit here, is we're going to take the block the narrow way, so just like this, and then you're going to place it between your feet. So this is going to add on to the stretch on your inner thigh. So test that out and see if that feels appropriate for your body. It is kind of an intense stretch because I'm really, really feeling it here. So just be mindful of that. So you can, I suggest starting off with a narrow side. You can go up a different side if you'd like to try that, but I would start off out with the narrow side to begin with because it is a big stretch. So again, we're accessing these adductor muscles which attach to our pubic bone. And sometimes these get very, very tight. And this is especially helpful if your pelvic floor is really tight and you need to loosen it up a little bit. If you are already kind of have an issue with what they call hypotenacity in the pelvic floor, then this might be too much of a stretch. So just be mindful of that. If you already have too loose issues with your pelvic floor, this might not be the best pose for you. Okay. And then go ahead and remove the block and then come back to Baddha Konasana, the first position. And you might notice that that feels pretty good at this point. So now take your hands on either side of your knees, bring your knees all the way up, and then come back into Dandasana or staff pose. Stretch everything out. You might want to give your legs a little bit of a wiggle at this point. Okay. So sitting up nice and tall, what we're going to do is we're going to take our hand onto the floor, our left hand on the floor, and then we're going to reach our right arm up over our head. Get a nice big stretch over the right side of our body. Our palm is facing down to the floor. We're about bending that left elbow a little bit, keeping the right hip firmly to this whatever we're sitting on. So our right hip is not popping up, and we're creating some nice length on the right side of our body, all the way down our side ribs and into our hip. And really direct your breath to that side body as you breathe in and out. When we get into those little muscles in between our ribs. And then slowly come all the way back up, and we're going to go to the other side. So this time the right hand is on the mat, left arm comes overhead, palm is facing down towards the floor. And then go ahead and bend that right elbow any amount, keeping the left hip rooted to the surface that you're sitting on, whether it be the blankets or the mat or a chair. So you can do this in the chair as well. Taking nice deep breaths in and out. So you want to think about sending that breath all the way down the side body into the hip. And then slowly come all the way back up. Hands are back onto your thighs. And now what we're going to do is some neck stuff. So we're going to release a little bit of neck tension. And we're going to do that by using the Brahma Mudra. So the Brahma Mudra uses some range of motion. So it's right, left, up, and down, along with some sounds. So this is a proven therapeutic approach to cervical stenosis, as well as neck tension. It can benefit the mood as well. It's been shown to show very helpful with especially middle-aged women with mood fluctuations. So it's something I use quite frequently. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit up nice and tall. And now we're going to start to inhale over to the right side. And on the exhale, you're going to make the sound ah way back. So you're going to make that ah. And now you're going to inhale and go to the left. And this one's ooh. Ooh. And now you're going to inhale and start to look up towards the ceiling, creating length in the back of your neck. And this one's E. So you make a nice big E. E. And now the chin comes down towards the chest. And this is mm. Mm. And then we'll go over to the right. Ah. Inhale to the left. Ooh. Inhale, looking up. E. And then the chin comes down the chest. One more time. Inhaling to the right. Over the left, inhaling. Ooh. Looking up towards the ceiling. And then the chin comes towards the chest as you inhale, and then coming up. A couple deep breaths in and out. And again, notice how that feels in your body. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do our cow-faced arms, or Gomukhasana arms. So if you have a strap, and grab that, or a belt, or a whatever you have, even a towel, you can throw the towel over your shoulder. So we're going to put that over our right shoulder. And I would like to break this down a little bit here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the right arm, bring it up alongside the ear, reaching up nice and tall through the fingers, and your palm is facing your head. From here, you're going to bend your elbow, reach for the strap behind you, use your left arm to bring and guide that elbow towards your ear. So you don't want to be cranking your neck with your arm. And once you've got it close to your ear, then you can allow it to drop. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And then you're going to take your other arm and you're going to have the palm facing away this time. Bend the elbow, reaching for the strap. And then you're going to think about rolling that shoulder back and down. So your chest is nice and open here. Again, sitting up nice and tall, allowing yourself to breathe, opening up your chest. So you're working on many different muscles here, opening up your chest. And now what you're going to do is let the bottom arm come all the way down slowly. I like to come out of these poses nice and slow. Wiggle out your arm. Other arm comes up towards the ceiling and then lower it all the way down. Shrug your shoulders a few times, roll them around a little bit. And notice how that felt on that side. And then we'll move to the other side. So it's important to take a little pause between each side so that we can really reflect on how that posture felt in our body. So it's really helpful not to rush into the different poses so that we can be more aware about what's going on. So we'll go to the other side. So taking the left arm up overhead, bend the elbow, reach for the strap behind you. Again, use the opposite fingers and hand to help you guide your elbow towards your head, and the elbow is going straight up towards the ceiling. Okay, so once you've got that established and your arm's doing what it's supposed to, then you can take your palm of the other arm, have it facing away, bend that elbow, reaching for the strap. Again, sitting up nice and tall. So you might be thinking, well, what if my elbow and my arm and everything doesn't quite go up that way like you have it on the screen? Don't worry about it. We're only going in that direction. So if it isn't in your body to have that range of motion, don't worry about it. As long as you're going in that general direction, and you can visualize too. That's always a very helpful tool to do, is visualize doing the pose, because your body really does believe that you're doing it. So just move within, what your body wants to do. Your yoga practice should be tailored to your body, and don't worry about everybody else, what's going on. I think that's the cool thing about the online yoga, is that you really can't see what everybody else is doing. So you can kind of only reflect on your own practice. Now, slowly lower that bottom arm, shake it out. Other arm comes straight up towards the ceiling, and then lower that arm down. Okay. Take the strap off for a moment and lay it aside. Loosen up your shoulders a little bit. And then you're going to come up to a kneeling position. So I would recommend, if you have a towel or a blanket, that you could put it on your mat. So we're going to put it on the mat. You're going to be sideways on the mat. So you're going to come up to a kneeling position. And then you're going to bring one leg out to the side. So your toes could be either flat on the mat, or if your ankle is preventing you from having your toes all the way down, you can put a blanket underneath your toes. Let me show you on the other side so you can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. So you can see how my foot is on the floor, but if it's up here because of ankle issues, then you can place a blanket underneath the toes, or you could even take a block and have that here, just so you have something to make contact with. That's the most important thing. And then with this as well, if your leg comes here, that's perfectly fine. Find where it feels comfortable in your body. And so it's also kind of cool because I can kind of line myself up here. So what you want is that leg is going straight up and down here. And if I look between my legs, I cannot see my foot because my calf is coming right out of my knee. My hands are on my hips. So we're going to be doing gate pose. So you're going to have the right hand on the thigh or the straight leg. And then you're going to bring your arm up over your head, kind of like you did on the pose when you're sitting down. Same kind of idea. Just don't push down on your knee here. So I like to have my hand kind of behind my knee here. Remembering to breathe. Always remembering to breathe. It's funny how we have to remind ourselves about that. But when we got all these things to do and these poses that we're doing, that sometimes we forget that little important part. Okay, now bring the arm all the way down. And now what you're going to do is, instead of having that front leg straight, we're going to bend it up into about a 90-degree angle, just like that. Then we're going to bring the arms out to the side. So this is a warrior pose on the floor. So basically, the gate pose you just did, that was really a triangle pose on the floor. This is a warrior 2 on your knee. So you could do most of your standing poses just from a kneeling position, which is kind of cool. So you have warrior 2 here, and then you're going to bring your forearm to your thigh, and then you're going to take your arm out in front of you, bring it back in the shoulder, and then swing it over your head. So this is your side angle pose. That's Parsvakonasana. And before that, Virabhadrasana 2. Which is kind of cool. Cool to have different options. Okay, swing that arm back down, bring your hands to your hips, and then bring that knee underneath your hips onto the blanket. All right, so what you do to one side, you got to do the other. Hands are on the hips. Now bring the left leg out to the side. Again, look down at your thigh and see if you can find out if it's perpendicular to the floor. Your calf is coming straight out from your knee. If you're not sure, you can peek between your legs and see if you can see your foot. So again, reaching up nice and tall. Yes. Growing tall in the spine. Shoulder blades are coming towards one another. Breathing nice and smooth in and out. Okay, so now you're going to bring your left hand down behind your left knee or up on the thigh as you bring the right arm over. There's so many ways to do different poses. So this is just one of the ways you can do your standing poses. And then bring that right hand down to the hip. Bend the left knee so it's at a 90-degree angle. Arms are out in the warrior two. So keep that knee from drifting in towards the middle. So you want to keep that knee going over the toes. So right around the second and third toes, you probably can't see them, but just make sure that leg does not start to cave in on you. Your chest's nice and open. And you might notice I got my fingertips turned upward. That does help with the breathing in your chest. Keep that nice and open. So that's a little adaptation that I do. Okay, so now what you're going to do is take your left forearm to your left thigh. Take your right arm, swing it out in front of you, bring it back in the shoulder blade or into the shoulder socket, and then swing the arm up over the ear. So you're into your Parsvakonasana, your side angle pose. And you might notice I'm wearing jeans today, and I was telling Catherine that you don't, as long as you can stretch and move around, it doesn't matter what you're wearing to your yoga class. It really doesn't. We don't need to keep up with the latest trends or what have you, whatever feels comfortable in your body. So I'm purposely doing that today just to show you that I am still doing yoga even in these clothes. And I've done them in pajamas and what have you, it doesn't matter. It's again, external, going back to the whole message of external factors. It's not important what you wear. It's just another way to identify with something else besides what's in here. Okay. So bring your hands down to your hips, the knee comes down. And then let's come all the way down onto tabletop pose here. So your hands and wrists are underneath your shoulders. If your wrists are cranky, then you can bring your hands out a little bit. And then look between your legs and see if you can see your feet. If you can see your feet, you need to have them out a little bit further so that they're coming straight out of your knees. All right, so we're going to do some rounds of cat-cow. So we're going to come to a neutral spine. And on inhale, you're going to start at the tailbone, starting to flip that up towards the sky. Let your belly drop. Inhaling up. And starting at your tailbone, start to tuck that down, rounding the back into cat. So all the movement should start at the tailbone. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. We'll do 3 more. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Inhale, cat. 1 more. Inhaling cow and exhaling to your cat. And then shake your tail a little bit, kind of moving it around, shaking it out. Okay. So from here, we're going to go into our balancing cat or pointer dog or hunter dog, whatever they want to call it. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Let me turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So bringing your left leg up. So you're reaching through the heel. Toes are pointed down towards the floor. Try to even out your hips as much as possible from right to left. And then lower that knee down. And then we'll go to the right side. So lifting the right leg up. Heels going up towards the sky. Toes are pointed down towards the floor. And then lower down. So now we're going to start to add in the arms as well. So this time the left leg comes up, right arm comes out in front of you. Palm is faced towards your face. And then lower down. And then let's switch the other side. So the right leg comes up, left arm comes out in front of you. Palm is faced in. And then lower down. Okay, we're gonna do something a little different on this last time. So you're gonna lift up your left leg. This time you're gonna bring it out to the left a little bit. It might be a little bit challenging. You probably haven't done this before. Maybe you have. And then bring it back into center. And then bring it over the midline towards the right. And then back to center. And then bring the knee down. Okay, we'll go to the other side. So the right leg comes up into the first position. So your toes are pointing down towards the floor, heel is up towards the sky. And now we're going to go into the second position. You're going to bring the right leg out to the side. Toes are pointed down towards the floor, heels up towards the ceiling. That's where it gets difficult to talk. And then bring it back to the first position. And then start to bring it over towards the left. So it's going across the midline towards the left. Toes are reaching down towards the floor. Heel is up towards the sky. And try to remember to breathe. And then bring it back to center and lower it all the way down. Woo. Shake your tail again. Okay. So if you have two blocks, then go ahead and grab your two blocks. And then you're going to put those in front of you. You're still kneeling on the blanket. If you don't have blankets, that's okay. I can show you how to do that without the blanket or the blocks. But if you have blocks, have your blocks in front of you. Bring your right foot up so they're in between the blocks. Your hands are on blocks. Have them underneath your shoulders. Now, if you don't have blocks, that's no problem. You can place your hands onto your thigh. This is my preferred way to do it because my arms are a little shorter, so they're kind of far down there a little bit. So I kind of prefer to have them up on my thigh. So you can adjust the stretch any amount. So you can lean into it a little bit if you want more stretch in your hip flexors. I just like to keep my torso up a little bit. So not all the way down, slumped over my knee. I like to have my body nice and upright as I do this. So the first position is hands on the blocks or on the thigh. Now the second position, once you feel nice and stable here and you feel balanced, you're going to reach behind you and clasp your hands together behind your back. So this will create a little bit of a balance challenge and it'll open up your chest. And then finally, the last position, you're going to have your arms overhead, keeping the tops of your shoulders soft. If they come up, that's okay, because we want to keep the natural rhythm of our shoulder blades. So let them move where they need to go. Just try not to struggle where you're having your ears scrunched up on the top of your shoulders. So there should be a little bit of a balance between effort and ease here. And if this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, then you're welcome to do a cactus or a goalpost. And if you're up here and you want your arms out a little wider, that's fine too. Okay, now return to your first position, which is hands on the thighs or on the blocks. Lean back a little bit and stretch out by coming forward. Good. All right, so bring that right knee underneath your hip, and then we're going to go to the left side. So your left foot comes out. Again, make sure that your right leg is right behind you, so we have a nice stable base. And make sure with the right foot that it's pushing down into the mat, so you have good contact, so you can have that nice stable base, so you don't feel like you're teetering. Your blocks, if you're using them, are underneath your shoulders. If you want, you can have your hands on your thigh. Okay, so this is your first position. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our second position. So you're going to take your hands, reach behind your back, and interlock your fingers. Now see if you can remember how you have them interlocked on the other side, and see if you can change the interlock of your hands behind you. So it should feel weird. So that's the thing, is we get into a lot of habits in our life. So sometimes it's good to break out of our habits a little bit. And I think that we're doing that right now, is that we're kind of changing our patterns in our life. And it might feel a little bit weird, but it gives us new opportunities. So see what that interlocking of your fingers and doing it the opposite way, how that feels, how it affects your mind. Okay. And now finally, the third position. So the arms are overhead or in a cactus position. Whichever one feels more appropriate for you. And then lower it back to first position. Hands are on the blocks. Stretch back. I just don't know how much this time flies when you're having fun. Holy cow. Okay. You can set your blocks aside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down to our backs. So if you want a blanket under your head, then feel free to do that. So I'm going to roll to one side and then come all the way onto my back. All right. So we've been doing a lot of work in the hips tonight. So we're going to reverse that a little bit. So I'm going to bring my right knee into my chest and then my left. And I'm going to hug my knees in underneath my thighs just to protect my knees a little bit. And we'll start rolling my ankles around, flex. Nice gentle movements here. And then I can start to roll back and forth a little bit, massaging my lower back. And then lowering one foot down at a time so both feet are on the mat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to move my hips over towards the left. So my head and my torso stay where they are, but my hips are over off center a little bit towards the left. Then I'm going to bring my knees up towards my chest, and then I'm going to let them drop over towards the right. So I have my right hand on my knee, and then my left arm's out to the side with the palm up. Give me a nice gentle twist. And for me, I'm looking up right towards the ceiling with my eye gaze. You can look over the opposite shoulder if you want, or you can keep your gaze up towards the ceiling. So we're doing a nice gentle twist here. If this is too much for you in your body, then you can place a couple blankets underneath your knees or a block. So I'll show you with the block. You can place the block underneath your knees, and then you're not rolled over as much. So whatever feels good. We'll only be here momentarily, about 6 breaths. All right, so now I'm bringing my knees back up to center. My feet are coming down on the floor. I recenter my body. And then I'm going to walk my hips again. Now they're going over towards the right. So my hips over to the right. My head and shoulders and torso are staying right in the middle. I'm bringing my knees up towards my chest. Arms are out by the side. And then I'm bringing my knees over to the left. This time my left hand is on top of my leg, and then my right arm is out to the side. My gaze is up towards the ceiling because, again, that feels the most comfortable in my neck. And then you're going to come all the way back up to center. Place one foot down at a time. Recenter the body. And it looks like it's Shavasana time. So go ahead and set yourself up for Shavasana. Like I said, I usually like a blanket underneath my head. You can take another blanket, roll it up, and put it underneath your knees. If you have a bolster, you can place those underneath your legs. So I'd like you to set up for Shavasana. And so I'll let you know when it's time to come out. I'll ring the bell. We got about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. So why don't you get set up, and I'll see you on the other side. When you do get comfortable, just let your feet and legs fall out to the side. Make sure you don't have any tension in your lower back. If you do feel any tension, you can reach underneath your hips and push the skin down towards your feet. That'll help to create some space in the lower back. Your arms are going to be by your side, palms are up. You want the arms to be a couple inches away from the body so you can have a little space between the side body and the arms. So once you get your alignment all set up, then start to slowly bring the breath in a natural pattern in and out of the body. And then any more Now slowly bring your attention back to the room and begin deepening your breath and wiggling your fingers and toes, moving in any way that feels really appropriate for your body, checking in. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, maybe rock back and forth a few times, massage your lower back. Then get yourself prepared to come up to a seated position. So when you feel ready, then roll to one side and just be there for a moment. Because we don't want to pop right up. Like to get our blood pressure getting ready for an upright position. So do take that moment to lie there on your side before you do come up to a seated position. I do thank you for joining me here online, and you really feel close to my heart. I really do appreciate you stopping by to watch this video with me and participating in this practice. So much gratitude. I wish you health, happiness, peace, joy, and love. May your heart and your families be filled with blessings. Namaste. Thank you for coming.